All right, and welcome to video 2. This is Unit 2 Extended Response section. This will be questions 10 through 13. This page here, page 3 is worth 11 points. So let me jump into this and show you where all your points came from. Question number 10 says that two angles form a linear pair. Once I see that two things form a linear pair, that means that they add up to 180 degrees. So let me draw a little picture of a linear pair down here. There's a linear pair. And it says that the larger angle is 4 times bigger than the smaller angle. So I don't know what the smaller angle is, so I'm going to put an x in there. But I do know that the larger angle is 4 times that, so this is 4x. So if I were to add these two angles together, 4x and x, I know that it has to add up to 180 degrees because it's a linear pair. So 4x plus x is 5x equals 180. And divide both sides by 5, and I get x to be 36. So my larger angle is 4 times 36. So this is 4 times 36, which is 144. The smaller angle is just 1x, which I found to be 36. So 36 degrees and 144 degrees. That was worth 2 points. So a point for each line. Question number 11 is worth 4 points. And really, I'm going to show you I took two different things. All right, I went two different ways with this one. If we were talking congruent versus supplementary, or if we were talking about what type of angles they were by location. So let me go through and I'll do the locations first, and then I'll go through and do the same side, supplementary, and all that kind of stuff. Give me just a second here. It looks like the computer kind of froze up. Let's try that. Nope. And one more time. And that looks like that should take care of it. Okay, we're back in action. So let me jump in first, look at 5 and 12. So 5 and 12, where are they? They're both on the same side of transversal D. So they are same side. And they are both inside of A and B, so they are same side interior. All right, if I look at 4 and 14, again, here's 4 and there's 14. So transversal is still D. This time they're on alternate sides of the transversal. And they're outside of A and B, so they are alternate exterior. 2 and 6, here's 2 and here's 6. Now our transversal is A. They're on opposite sides of the transversal, so they are alternate. And they are inside of lines C and D, so they are alternate interior. And the last two, 13 and 15, they're on the same side of transversal B, but they're not both inside or both outside. They're actually both bottom right corner. That is corresponding. If you had any of those, I accepted answers. Now, the other thing I accepted were things that were congruent or supplementary. And if you knew, we'd worked all week putting these into two different groups. Same side interior are supplementary. They add up to 180. Alternate exterior are congruent. Alternate interior are congruent. Corresponding are congruent. So I would have accepted supplementary, congruent, or same side interior, alternate exterior, alternate interior, corresponding. I would prefer that you either give all answers like you see in blue or all answers like you see in green. Don't mix and match between the two different types. But if you did, I did not count off. And if we did count off, please bring me your test and I'll make sure that I correct that for you. Question number 12 says M and N are parallel. So since I know that they are parallel, okay, that's what that symbol means. I know that my alternate interior angles are congruent. So 6x minus 5 has to be equal to 5x plus 8. So subtract 5x on both sides. Add 5 to both sides. And I get x to be 13. Now, that means I can plug that in, and I can do 6 times 13 and subtract 5, and I'm going to get 73. Or I can do 5 times 13, add 8, I'm going to get 73. No matter what I do, I'm going to get 73 degrees in there. And I know this, that 3y minus 10 and this 73 degree are a straight line. So 3y minus 10, the angle, plus 73 has to equal 180. I can combine like terms, so 3y plus 63 equals 180. Subtract 63 on both sides. 180 minus 63 is 117. And then divide by 3, and you get y to be 39. For y to be 39. That problem also worked 2 points. And number 13. Boy, this one was tricky. This one got a lot of people. And it says angles C and D are complementary. You need to know what the word complementary means. That means that they add up to 90, not 180. They add up to 90. So 2x minus 25 plus 3 times x plus 5 has to equal 90. I want to distribute first. All right, hopefully you remember distribute. So 2x minus 25 is plus 3x plus 15 equals 90. Combine like terms. 2x and 3x is 5x. Negative 25 and 15 is negative 10. It's equal to 90. Add 10 to both sides. 5x is equal to 100. Then divide by 5, and I get x to be 20. So x is 20. And from there, I just plug back in. I'm going to plug in right here, 20. 2 times 20 is 40. And 40 minus 20 minus 25 is 15. So C is 15. And then I'm going to plug in a 20 right here. 20 plus 5 is 25, and 25 times 3 is 75. And I can check by adding my green and red together and make sure it is complementary, make sure it adds up to 90. 15 plus 75 does equal 90 degrees. So that one you did have to make sure that you were careful and that you added things up to 90 and not 180. The back of this is a proof, and you'll notice that I have, for the key's sake, I have updated the little mistakes that were in here. I have added the word, I told you the one thing we had to do, we had to add the word substitution, and then down on number 15, we had to change, that was a 3, and I had to change it to a 4. That was a 3, and I had to change it to a 4. So I've already done the corrections to the proof. Now, the easy part of the proof, and I tried to make this so it was nice and easy, is write down what is given. So as I read question 14, it says if B is the midpoint of AC. So I'm telling you the B is the midpoint of AC. That is given. So B is midpoint of AC. And what am I trying to prove? I'm trying to prove that AB is congruent to BC. That's what I want to prove. Now, when I do a proof, the very first, so this whole line going across is worth 1 point. If you get one side and not the other side, you can get a half. The next line with a point says sketch a graph. So the graph that I'm going to sketch is I'm going to sketch a segment called AC, and I'm going to put B right in the middle of it, so that this side is equal to this side. That's worth a point. If you sketched a graph that was really close to that or similar to that, I gave you the point. Now the actual proof. And proofs, I'm telling you, the first line is always the exact same thing. Whatever is given, take it and copy it. B is the midpoint of AC. Reason, given. Again, that line is worth 1 point, half a point on each side. The last line of the proof is always what I'm set out to prove. So I'm looking to prove that AB is congruent to BC, so that is my very last line. And now the only thing I need is Y. Why is that true? That is true because of the definition of midpoint. And I know that because in the question it talks about the word midpoint. So that entire proof, you could have gotten 4 points on that proof. The last proof, you can get 4 points on this one as well. All right, what am I starting with? The given information. What is given? Well, A is parallel to B. C is parallel to D. That is given. What am I out to prove? Angle 4 is congruent to angle 13. That line was the point. The sketch I give you. So what is given? The very first line of a proof is always the given information. So copy that. And the reason is given. The very last line of the proof is going to be whatever I'm out to prove. So this thing that I'm out to prove always goes down here in the bottom left. And we'll get to the reason here in a second, but I know that much. All right, so what does line 2 say? Line 2 says that 4 is congruent to 2. So if I look at the picture, how do I know that 4 and 2 are congruent? Well, if I can look at line C as being the transversal, 4 and 2 are corresponding angles. So this is the corresponding angle theorem. It says that corresponding angles of parallel lines are congruent. Okay, well, why are 2 and 13? Again, if these two lines are parallel, why would 2 and 13 be congruent? Well, they're congruent because those are alternate exterior angles. That's the alternate exterior angle theorem. Okay, well now if I look at line 2 says that angle 4 is congruent to angle 2. And line 3 says angle 13 is congruent to angle 2. So if I look, I actually have this here. You'll notice two things are equal to the same thing. Two things are equal to the same thing. And when two things are equal to the same thing, they are equal to one another by a process called substitution. Two things are equal to the same thing. They're equal to one another by substitution. That's it for the test. The test was out of a total of 29 points, and then it was put in and adjusted to make it worth 60 points for your overall test. Hope this helps. See you guys soon.